Hi FlossTube. This is Lost and Floss and I'm Barb. Today is Saturday, April 6th, 2024 and this is video 100 something. Much as I try to be organized, I wasn't really planning on recording today, and then I thought, well, why not? I've got some finishes I want to show you before I pack a few things up, and also I've been working on a few things. This channel, of course, is, well, not of course, but this channel is primarily about cross stitch. Today I think it's all cross stitch because I haven't been working on anything else, but I've got a couple great finishes. I think they're great. I think you'll think they're great too. And some exciting things that I've been working on. And then also I had a viewer who shared some really cool things with me that I would like to share with you as well. And talking about sharing, I pulled two winners for the things that I showed last video. And I commented on the two people's comments, but I haven't heard back yet. So I will give them until next video to claim the charts. And if I don't hear from them by then we'll go on to what's called the speed round, where you email me and say which of the two or the one that's left you would like. And then I choose someone from the people who email me. And then it seems like, you know, people check their email much more than they check to see comments on YouTube. So I understand that. But it's just my way of making sure that I don't have these things hanging for months and months at a time. But anyways, Spring Fling, the rabbit chart that I bailed on, goes to Lori Raisley 4772. And Trick or Treat Cat. This one includes the Started on 36 Count Da Vinci cat and most of the flosses, and that one goes to Pam Seberg 6732. So if you're either of those two people, please either leave a message on Instagram, if you're on Instagram, at lostandfloss2, the number 2, or else email me at lostandfloss2, also the number 2, at gmail.com and send me your address, and I will get those out as soon as I can. Yeah, so I think I'll share the new things to give away just a little later in my video. This isn't going to be a long video because I've been doing some finishing, as you can see the things behind me, and also have been working on a couple things that, I don't know, like sometimes something speaks to you and you just keep working on it. Well, that's what's been happening to me lately. So I have 5 Prairie Schooler Santas going. I have not picked up the 2024 yet to share, but I will be doing that. But anyways, I hauled out 2014 Santa and I'm going to town on him. So this is what he looks like. So I've really got a pretty good start on him. So my rule is if I go out of state, I start a new Santa. So I have got like 4 of them going here. And this one has a very like sad little start, but he's got a cap and the start of a face. So I probably will be finishing up this caroler guy and the Ark Santa first, and then I'll go on to the others that I had started. Plus, I'm going to start 2012 whenever I get my hands on it. I just, yeah, I haven't I haven't put any online orders in and don't have an L&S close by. I'm so sad to learn about Stitchville closing. I didn't get there that often, but my son lives in the Twin Cities, and so when I would visit him, I'd always, like, probably only half the time that I was up there, I would get over there, and I haven't been there for quite a while. But it was just always so fun to go in and be inspired, and I miss the thought of being able to go there, but I'm not the one. I guess they lost their lease, and as people get older, they want to retire too, so I get it, but it's made me feel really sad. I always feel sad when stores that I really like close, and online ordering and the like, things are very different from a retail standpoint than they were. I went with my daughter. She took her kids to see the Easter Bunny at the mall, and I mean, years ago you would wait in line, and actually we could walk right up and it was no big deal. Kids had their picture. I think there was one other set of kids waiting. And then we walked through the mall, which I hadn't been to in quite a while. And, like there's 2 restaurants in the food court where there used to be, I don't know, 12 different little things. There's store after store that has, nothing in it. And you just feel sad because it's like, I think of how much a part of my life going to the mall was at, when I was younger, and it's like, okay, a special occasion, need something new to wear, or looking for new shoes or a gift for someone, and I get it. I mean, it is very easy to order things online, and but it's just still kind of weird. And the mall that's closest to us, like, it's morphed into, they have movie theaters back and more entertainment things people go to live, and a lot of restaurants have moved into the outskirts. The ones that are more fast food have standalone buildings, and I'm sure that's because then that way they can do the Uber Eats and drive-throughs much easier, but it does make me feel sad. And I guess because I hadn't been there in a number of years, like, just the difference was phenomenal. I don't know how to get on that topic. I don't know. Anyways, I'll show you next what I'm working on. With Needle and Thread by Samplers Not Forgotten. And this one I started over again. Let's see if I can find what I'm stitching it on. I'm supposed to be so organized, but let's see. I changed to 40 count antique lace by number 1 or 12 Stitch Company. And I'm zeroing in on getting that vase finished. So this is a fun one to work on. I wish I was farther on it, but I'll keep at it now that I have determined my color palette, and I think I'm using mostly the called for threads. Then I finally started Stars and Stripes by Brenda Gervais. I've loved this one forever. And let's see. I found a piece of, what is this? This is 36 count vintage pecan butter by Lakeside. And we got her dress. Her dress is done. I was going to do her face last night, but the called for is Adobe, but my Adobe is really, it's not the color that it shows up there. It's pretty orange. So I don't want her to look like she had used that old copper tone. Remember copper tone? Like when I was a kid, people would use it to self-tan, and it definitely had an orange hue to it. And so this chart is in 4 pieces, and it was driving me crazy doing the dress because one half the dress was on one side. So finally I'm like, I'm just gonna run copies and cut them apart and tape them together, and that was much easier for me to stitch that way. And let's see, let's bring up the stocking. Shall we? We shall. So one of the things I found years ago when I was making my first stocking, Leanne made me this project bag, and I loved it because it kept, everything together. It was big enough, but I found that this time around, I just took this bin, that's like a square, like scrapbook paper size, and I found it's just so much easier for me to haul it out and work on things. And this is it was a chart or a kit I bought on eBay. So this is going back old school. Like I had to figure out which colors were which and write them on my thing. But I love this because then I can put these in here and they don't get all tangled. And then I'm also using this needle keeper thing, and I haven't, if I finish a section and there's no more of that color, then I will park my needle in this. But it's not like I leave all my needles with each color in there all the time. But it really is helpful because then I'll look at this and it's like, oh, I have that color started already. So, and then I keep cute little needle book thread floss thingy in there. And then this is the actual chart of the stocking. I love this one. I can't wait to see it done. And I'm really I think, when I think of how much I complained about working on these for the past couple, I think using these different tools really has helped me. And so I've got a nice little start on Santa's midsection. It's his belt. I'm not sure, on the chart, the belt shows really, it's really gold, and I checked the color to make sure I didn't make a mistake, but I wonder if they made a mistake because it really looks pink. So I probably will rip that out later and just use one of the golds that came with it. So it looks more like what's in the picture. But I'm pretty excited that I've made that kind of progress on it. So let's see. So that's all the whips. Now I had a finish. And this one was one that I started eons and eons ago. And this is Teresa Koget's American Primitives. And sorry for the glare. But I decided I was going to stitch it on Aztec Red and then not do the blue. I think the blue was probably the fabric. But then you would have had to stitch the frame and all that red around it. I wasn't going to do that. So instead, I am stitching this, or stitched it on 36 count Aztec Red. Switched up colors a little bit. but I am officially done. I don't know that it's as cute as Teresa's intended piece, but the difference between the chart and what I did was obviously stitched it on the red, so I didn't have all that stitch outlining around the frame, and that's how I'm going to leave it. Some of the colors I didn't have. Instead of, there was supposed to be a big bunny on a skateboard, I got rid of him and I put the USA in the grass. What was supposed to be on the other side? Oh, little lambs. And I didn't want to do the lambs. So instead, I put a bunch of stars there in the grass. And then it was supposed to say American Primitives, right? Yeah. And instead, I just did America and put a couple stars. That there's a house like underneath the flag that's behind him. I always thought there were two flags on the same pole, but then when I looked at it more closely, it was a house. I still think I could have done better on that, but you know, I'm not going to spend any more time on that. That's fun. It's cute, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. Like, usually by the time I finish stitching something, I kind of have some thought on it, but this one I just have no idea what I'm going to do with it. So stay tuned. But it's something I started a couple years ago, and so I'm just glad to have it done. This came in the mail the other day, and I had to share it. Remember, like, you know, probably it was like maybe 30. Well, before cell phones really came into existence, you'd get like the white pages and the yellow pages for your area. And remember how thick they were? I don't even know why they bother sending this out. It's like tiny. But before I recycled it, I'm like, I would never use this to look things up because, you know, you look everything up online now. And yeah, so although I just saw a podcast recording the basics, maybe I should read that. And then the other thing, I had these the other day. I was on a Zoom call with a stitch group that I'm in, and I had found them in a box. But if anyone's my age, do you remember these? Oops, this one's breaking, so I have to be careful with it. But remember? From the 60s, I think in the 60s. I had these when I was a young, like early grade school, I think. But I mean, they're so bizarre. Like, I don't know. I don't know why I hung on to them. They are broken, but they are kind of funny. So I'd just be curious if any of you remember having those or not. All right. So I also did a little thrifting, and like I found for a quarter, this was a good deal. 2 packs of Rick Rack. And, well, to begin with, it has, let's see, I don't know that it has a price on it. I got it for a quarter, but you can tell this is the old stuff because it's more pointed. The new stuff is usually more rounded. So I love that for finishing. I have this red seam binding tape that I could use to ruche. That was a quarter. And then this too was a quarter. And I'm like, you know, you can always use some patriotic trim. And another color of seam binding. And then I picked up these books. This is one by Lisa Bonjean, Primitive Gatherings. and it's the Christmas gatherings. Has some cute projects in there, you know, and I'm like, I don't know if I even paid $1 for this. So like if I use it, I use it. If I don't, I don't. But I know there were a few things in here I thought were cute. I'm not gonna, oh, like this basket is really cute. But yeah. And then the other thing I found is this Holiday Happenings book. And I'm not quite sure why I got this one. Oh, this I thought was cute. And like as a beginning quilter, I like how they did the lines. Just a curvy back and forth. So I thought that definitely is within my skill set. And let's see, you know, like I think some of these things I was like inspired to try like a wool applique type thing. I mean, this is somebody from Radisson, Wisconsin. When is this book from? 1987. Yeah, it kind of looks like it. I mean, look at the author's hairstyle. Although not too different than mine, is it? I don't have the striped shirt on today. So anyways, you know, it's always fun to look through. Then before I go on to my fully finished items, I wanted to share with you. Debbie put together these books that she sent me, several of. There's two different ones. One is the I Love FlossTube notebook. And it's really nice. Like, she has, let's see, FlossTube favorites. You're all gonna write Lost and Floss in there, aren't you? So, and then room for channels and notes. And then, if you were inspired by something they showed and you wanted to order it, look how cute that is. And then just room for notes, which always nice to have things all together in one place. And then she also includes some graphed pages, which is great. Like when I was doing that America on the American Primitive ones. Oh, and here's like start dates for the month. And it's nice because you wouldn't have to, like, you could start it in, you know, whatever month you get it in, and then use it through the next year, the first couple months. Then there's Watch Again FlossTubes, and just, you know, it's a nice amount of pages. It's probably the perfect. And then this is another great one. She put together What's My Floss? Floss Changes Journal, Transforming Thread Palettes to Match Your Vision. And so this one, it's probably kind of what I do on my separate sheets, but you can see she has, you know, like where you can write down what threads you used and the different projects, pattern designer notes. And yeah, I think this would be really, really handy. And yeah, so you have room for, I don't know how many projects would fit in this book, but quite a few. So, thank you so much, Debbie, for sharing these, so I am able to share them with one of my viewers. So, let's see. What are we going to do for this one? Let's say, first off, you have to be 18 Please be a subscriber. Please like the video. And the comment, let's see, for the What's My Floss journal, let's use What's My Floss. Yes, What's My Floss. So if you'd like to be entered for the drawing, What's My Floss? And then for this book, let's just say, I love FlossTube. Let's keep it simple, right? So, yeah, and hopefully I'll, be back with a video, I don't know when, let's say towards the end of April, most likely. I mean, if I pick a winner, I pick a winner. You can still leave a note, right? But now's the time where I'd like to show my finishes. So this was Merry Spring. I don't have the chart, but it was a JBW Designs. And I used the DMC variegated, it's a springtime palette, floss, so it goes from pink to yellow to like aqua blue. And I still don't think it, like when I saw the chart, it like I could see it said a very merry spring, and it jumped out at me. But when I did this, I think it's really cute, but it looked more like a design. So, and the colors, I was using just I think a 40 count something. I probably said in my last video, and I don't have the slip with me, but I didn't think the colors popped out like I wanted them to. So I did my little painting with walnut crystals technique, and I started taking notes to make a video. I wanted to get it done, and so I didn't really have time to make the video I want to make. But I did take some shots of this before and after that I will use when I make the video. And I promise it's coming. But I think this looks so cute. I had that rickrack in my stash of rickrack. I painted the box with, it was kind of more of a lighter aqua chalk paint. And then I speckled it, and then I antiqued it. And then this is the part I like best. I ended up putting this pretty floral on the inside. And that was, like, I've done that before, but I forget how easy it is. And I just Mod Podged over it, so it has a nice, finished look to it. And I think this is adorable. And I'm just, it's always nice to get something done like this that looks cute and, yeah, can put out. And then, as you can see back here, oh, pardon that. That's where I throw, it was like I don't know if it's supposed to be a candy dish. It was my mom's. And so I throw like loose things I don't want to lose in there. But anyways, I told you that I had this thrifted rabbit with the radishes. And I thought he would look so cute next to ours for rabbit. And this is Prairie Schooler. And I just made it into a flat fold. But I had him sitting next to it, and I will probably put a picture in the beginning. But, like, this guy couldn't be more perfect. Like, definitely they look like they're, from the same family. But I just did a simple flat fold made my own cording. I thought the chart itself is so busy, I just didn't want to do a lot of busyness for the fabric around the edges. And so I just found this tone-on-tone green that I had in my stash, and I picked up the rabbit color to make the cording a la Vanna's tutorial. And also the flat fold is her technique. So I think it's really adorable. And then, our lasting friendship was a sampler that, a round robin sampler. Oh, and there's my lamp I showed in the last video. My husband ordered a piece that will put the lampshade up more, so, but that hasn't come yet. But this is our lasting friendship. It was I was going to say round robin, but I guess it kind of is. We each stitched on the other members of the group's samplers. And so I think it was divided, there are 8 of us, so divided into 8 parts. And so month 1, you all stitched the first part. Month 2, you switched to the next person's and stitched the second part, and so on, which really was good. Like when I first was thinking about it, I was thinking we were all going to have to stitch the same thing 8 times, and that would have been horrendous. So it was fun. You actually stitched the whole sampler, and yeah. So I did mine on 36 count Lakeside linen lentil, and had this frame, and my husband helped me make it smaller and practice my pinning technique. And for this one, I tried pulling threads, and really it's really not hard to do, but I think I did a pretty good job, and I really like this frame with it. I didn't want anything too wide, and I lost there was like a wire hanger in the back, and I lost that, but I just came across it now. I was cleaning up from, Easter. We just had our daughter over for Easter, and like you put things maybe places you wouldn't ordinarily put things, and so I just found the backing wire. So I think I'm going to hang it like right behind. I never got these moved, and I don't know, I'm thinking will I leave them there? I don't know. Haven't decided yet, but so I'm thrilled that this is done. In each of the big cartouches are the initials of the people who stitched this, and then the initials of the other people in our stitching group are interspersed outside the cartouches, as well as my initial and Leanne's. So love it. I'm glad to have it done, and I will be hanging that on my wall. So let's see. Easter came and went. It was a beautiful day, if not weather-wise. Just being with the kids. We did the wafer egg houses. Not egg houses. It's similar to like building a gingerbread house, but you use those strawberry wafers. Those thin ones, they come in strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. And at the dollar store last year, or maybe 2 years ago, they had the pink ones. And when I went this year, they were all like vanilla and supposedly had the strawberry filling in them, but that didn't even look that pink when I opened them up. And so then I was really like, they just aren't going to be the same or as colorful. And I went online, I was thinking, well, could I order from Amazon or see what other store had them, and then found that they had them at Walmart for not that much more than what I paid at the Dollar Tree. So I went and got them, and this time, before I had pre-made the houses and the kids just decorated them, but now that they're older, I let them build their own houses, and they really got into it and just got very creative. And so I will put some pictures of the houses at the end in case you'd like to do something similar with your kids or grandkids, neighbor kids, whoever, maybe adults, I don't know. It's fun. And you know, like had different candies that they could put on. I had found some green frosting that they used to make like grass outside their house. And then when I first made them with them, I had bought these little plastic trays that are about like this big, maybe that big, little handles. And so the kids built them right, each had their own little tray, and so they built them right on there. So then when it was time to take them home, they could just lift them up, and we kind of ran out of time. And so they had started decorating them a little bit, but then they finished up at home. And let's see, I baked the traditional lamb cake that is not very traditional. My mom's old, like, I don't know if it's cast iron or what are like skillets made out of, you know, that heavy metal. Anyways, it's in the shape of a lamb. And it wasn't what I was going to do this year, but then at the last minute, my daughter was giving me suggestions, and she mentioned Miranda Lambert. And I'm like, why haven't I ever done her? You know, she had Lamb as her last name. So I did. I ran out of time. So it's kind of a hurry up, you know, version of her. But, you know, it's funny. It fulfilled the the qualifications of what I needed to do. So, so did that, and our granddaughter did a little treasure hunt for the kids. So they were, you know, running around the house looking for these clues. I went to open up the refrigerator to get something out, and I'm like, what is this little note in here? And it was her clue that you know, was for the treasure hunt. So that was fun. That gave them something to do, and just, you know, it was a nice relaxing, well, not necessarily relaxing, but it was a nice day. It was a nice day. So made key lime pie for my husband because he loves key lime pie. Made an apple pie for my son-in-law because he's dairy free. And yeah, it was just a very nice day. And then we had a sleepover with the kids the week before because they were off the week before Easter. And so all four of them came, and it's just, you know, it's fun. We didn't, you know, like it was bad weather, so we couldn't be outside. They love to play outside. Like our yard isn't huge, it's like an acre and a third, but theirs is smaller. And so like they come here and they just love hanging out in the yard, which I love because it's like, you know, so simple, and it's just, it takes me back to how much our own kids played out in the yard when they were kids. But so we couldn't do that. So we watched a movie, and then they slept really well, which is always good. The next morning, they love pancakes. So I had seen online where someone dyed the pancake batter different colors and made like bunnies and eggs and chicks. And well, that was a disaster because like I always think you're not supposed to overstir the batter because then it gets tough, but they were lumpy. And so then I put them in like one of those squeeze bottles. So then those tips would get like stopped up from the lumps, and I'd have to take my cake duster and break it through, and it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm just doing the outline of a chick and good enough. So, but we did that, and then I had, like, I know they used to use shaving cream and food coloring to dye Easter eggs, and they get this mottled thing, but I always was afraid to do that because it's not a food item that you're putting them in. And so this year I saw where people did it with Cool Whip and food coloring, and so I I did that, but like they look so pretty when we did them, but then like once you rinsed it off, they were just so muted and pastel. And so I was kind of sad about that. So I feel like I had 2 Pinterest fails that day. But, if you don't try some of that stuff, you never know how it's going to turn out. So, but they still, had fun with them. And then, I don't know, they stayed for supper that day. So we had a nice long day and, just hanging out. Playing a game with my granddaughter, and the boys love, being on the iPad, which they don't really get a lot of screen time at home. And we try to abide by that, but sometimes they get a little bit more. And the 4-year-old is not he is not one to like do much hugging or, not the cuddly type of kid. And so like he's learned that if he wants to play on the iPad, he needs to come and give me a hug. So the first time my husband said to him, give Bobby a hug. So he comes running in, looks at me and turns around and runs back. And then Jim asked him if he had given me a hug, and he's like, and then I said, no, he didn't. The next time he comes running in and he gives the chair I'm sitting in a hug. And so then he goes running back, and so we were just laughing. And so finally he came in and actually gave me a hug. So I got to get it one way or another. So it's, just funny how each has their own little personality. And today, beautiful Saturday. Finally sunny, and my core group of friends, except for one, are all back from their travels this winter. And so there were 4 of us that went for like a 4-mile walk this morning and had a nice coffee afterwards. And then I went to pick up one of my grandsons. He had Lego League, and then he needed to kill some time, and I needed to drop him at the mall for a birthday party at this game place. And so he comes out to the car, and he's just like such a sweet kid. He's like, thank you so much for picking me up and hanging out with me for a while in between my events. And I'm like, for an 8-year-old, that's pretty nice. And he's just like, so interesting to talk to, and just nice to have the one-on-one time. But like he's talking about all the decisions he's gonna have to make in life, from where he goes to college to what job, and then he's like, and if I want to get married and have a family. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I said, well, you sound like you have a lot of maturity already, Dawson. So I think, like you'll make good choices just because you think through things logically and, like spend enough time making good decisions. So he's just a really, sweet kid. So it's just fun to have a one-on-one. I always, keep saying that I want to take them one at a time and do a yes day where, like I'll say, do you want to do this? And they'll say yes or no. And, kind of just do what they want to do and spend quality time with them. So, but, I've been saying that for like a year or two now, and it's like anything, just have to schedule the time to do it. So, other than that, that's about all that's been going on. I guess it hasn't been that long since I last did a video. So yay to me for keeping at it, right? It's so much easier when you don't have to like gather a lot of stuff together. And I always feel like I may not have as much to show, but then I think, well, we're already like 40 minutes in, and so obviously, you know, I know a lot of it is the chit chat at the end, so feel free to fast forward or whatever. But yeah, so I guess looking for the current winners, enter the drawing for the books. Keep trying to finish those fully finished items that haven't been turned into fully finished items. I have a couple, but you know, I feel like it's all within control now. And like even this one, like a couple years ago, I would have just let this sit. And I'm like, it's so tiny. You know, it took me a little time, but it wasn't awful. Like just deciding what you're going to use. And I have such a wealth of finishing supplies around me that it's not like I can just start digging through my drawers and get inspiration, which is very helpful as well. So I guess that's all I have for you today. And if I wore the same shirt last time, please I apologize, but I was out working in the yard for a while, getting the first layer of leaves out of the beds. My crocuses have bloomed, my hyacinths are up, not fully, but you know, nearly, and daffodils are just starting to bloom. And if I succeed in my war against the deer, I may have some tulips left. So it really is my favorite time of year. The athletes out there. Last night we watched the UConn-Iowa women's game. Oh my gosh, you know, this was like down to the wire and so exciting. It's kind of nice when you don't have a favorite team because you just appreciate the skill of the athletes, and you know, it'd be nice if both sides could win. But yeah, looking forward to watching the finals on that, and you know, getting some more yard work done outside because it's finally starting to dry up, and getting the first layer of leaves out and seeing what's coming up underneath it all. So I guess that's all I have for you today. And I hope you're all doing well and continue to fill the world with love. Toodles!